This is everything wrong with the infamous Ultimate Fallout 4 Acetate cover from C2E2. We're going to talk about all the things people aren't necessarily talking about here. Everything wrong with the cover itself. It's official. Marvel did not approve the Ultimate Fallout 4 Acetate covers at C2E2. It is not a part of the agreement. Real quick, what did they do? They took a old facsimile cover that did not sell last year back in October of 2021 or November or so. They took that, printed off on a piece of plastic, what they're calling their In God We Trust exclusive acetate, and it's basically a piece of plastic that they themselves, or they had a printer staple it on them for them, and now it has 4 staples, meaning the book has been damaged, on an old facsimile cover that nobody wanted originally, with imagery supposed to be very American and feel good, except they screwed up this every possible way. Let's start off with the very front here of the book. So we're going to look at the stripes, okay? If you know what an American flag looks like, let me show you. That, my friend, is an American flag. See what's at the top? Red. See what's at the bottom? Red. How many stripes are they? There you go. Now, what do we see here on this one? Well, it goes white, red, white, red, white's at the top, white's at the bottom. That's not an American flag. Now, another thing that's messed up that a lot of veterans have notated, but again, none of the stuff's really been talked about publicly, is the way that the 13 folds of Old Glory was done. If you look here at the 13 folds, you're only supposed to have just the blue showing, just the blue visible, and then you can see the stripes and things like that. So there have been a lot of comments that I've seen. I won't say a lot, but there have been several comments where I've seen of veterans going, man, it really bothers me to see this being done this way. So clearly you don't know what American flag is. You don't know what the 13 folds of glory really looks like. And then my problem with it is this is imagery generally, the 13 folds of Old Glory, things like that, that it has a whole meaning behind it. But it's generally out of respect for fallen soldiers, and it's that kind of imagery. So now you're profiting off of imagery based on something that's generally reserved for fallen soldiers. So that to me is a bit yucky, we'll say. And it'd be different if it was like, hey, we're going to sell this, and we're not even talking about how it was sold, but then we're also going to give a massive amount of the profits and donate it to X, Y, or Z, because we understand that we're profiting off of the imagery of fallen soldiers and things like that. So that's some really things they've done. And then on the back, in God we entrust. And everybody's like, is that a spelling mistake? And it's kind of like an interchangeable, not really, but kind of, with en trust. So that's another way to spell it. But if you look at the way they promoted it here on their post, In God We Trust Acetate. So it makes you wonder, these dumb which clearly they are at this point, that they've kind of shown they are by the way when it was sold, to by the actual plastic cover being stapled on, and them not doing the flag the right way on the back, on the folds, and trying to profit off of imagery of, which they did profit off of it, imagery of fallen soldiers, then you misspell some stuff. So In God We Entrust, and you can kind of see it right there above the blue next to America, and again, I have no problem, like if they look, In God We Trust, absolutely 100%, right? But the whole thing is just dumb as could be. How stupid. I mean, not only are you going to mess up the way you sell it, make yourself look like a dickhead, but then you're not even going to tell people that it's an old copy of your facsimile. You're going to screw up every possible way you can on this thing. And, the 13th fold, if you look, actually represents In God We Trust. So, and that's our national motto and things like that. So I really do think that maybe this was a massive F-up on whoever designed this. And it really is a shame because, Clayton Crane does some phenomenal covers and things like that, and I think this is a massive mistake. Not only is Black Flag going to mess up in every possible aspect, but CGC is going to be dumb, and they're going to grade this in a blue label. They're going to stand behind it with an explanation of our thought process behind the grade assignments. We treated them as we would any other variant cover that's attached with an extra set of staples after the book was printed. And at the times, these books included the original cover as well. There's a President with Acetate covers being attached to a printed book and then graded by CGC. Stray Dogs #1 from last year. So we up back then, so we're going to continue effing up. Mind-blowing. They're the gold standard, people. And what I do love is the fact that CBCS did come out and they put out a really good statement. I'll put here. I just really wish CBCS would get on the ball with their customer service. It's so hard to really want to push and like help and be like, guys, go here, when you hear so many horror stories about the customer service. I didn't experience that, but I know people personally who have, people I trust very closely, people who can't get responses. So that's tough for me. But kudos for CBCS for saying what they said. And the funniest shit ever, if you're at Boston this weekend, you got to let us know. The Boston Fan Expo this weekend, Ghost Rider on Friday, Deadpool on Saturday. And this was a post they put out in CBSI, their Facebook group, and they got hammered for this whenever they did it. Black Flag, not CBSI, that they're going to be doing 2 lines. If you're a normal person, you only get 1. If you're an influencer or flipper or scalper, probably the better term, you can get up to 10 each. So there you have it. Who's the real villains here? I think it's Black Flag, and I think it's CGC for continuing to stand behind this garbage. Guys, you're the best part of Two Village Comics. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it out.